The NBA would forever change, all due to a decision made on August 24th in 1979 on the second floor of the former Capitol Center Arena here in Washington, D.C. The head coach of the Washington Bullets at the time, Dick Motta, received a request from Deng Xiaoping, the leader of the People's Republic of China, to play a basketball game in China. The Bullets had just won the NBA Finals in the previous season, but playing a game outside of the country's borders was completely unheard of. Mao Zedong, the ruthless dictator of China who killed millions of China's own citizens, had just died, and China was looking to build new relationships abroad, most notably with the United States. After some deliberation within the Washington Bullets headquarters, the team graciously accepted the offer and traveled to China on August 24th, 1979, to play in China for the very first time.
The Bullets played two exhibition games, one each against the Beihai Rockets and the Chinese national team. Neither gave Washington much of a challenge, but the final score was hardly a factor in the success of this diplomatic mission.
The people in China love this. Following the game, Larry O'Brien, the NBA commissioner at the time, met with Deng Xiaoping to discuss the possibility of broadcasting the NBA on the Chinese state media stations. President Xiaoping was easily convinced, and soon the NBA was broadcasted on their state media for hundreds of millions to see. Basketball was growing in popularity like crazy in China, and it was paying off for the NBA. The new foreign profits of the NBA can be shown from this graph. In the 1979 to 1980 season, the average salary of the NBA player was $173,500. In the 1980 to 1981 season, it increased to $189,000, then to $218,000 in the next season, and then going all the way up to $246,000 in the 1982 to 1983 season. Just 3 years after the first NBA game being played in China, the NBA grew an insane 41% in value. Chinese citizens were watching the NBA games in record numbers, and merchandise sales were rising as well. However, the NBA wouldn't truly take off until the 2002 season with the emergence of the one and only
Number 11,
Yao Ming was selected first overall in the NBA draft to the Houston Rockets and would forever change the NBA.
by Morning Yao on the stuff.
Yao Ming working on Wallace again. Takes it inside. What a pass. Yao Ming is Hendricks gets it down to Yao. He throws it up and it goes in.
At just 21 years old, Yao would become the first ever Chinese player to make a name for himself in the league. Yao Ming skyrocketed ratings for the NBA. In his first game against Shaquille O'Neal and the Lakers, roughly 200 million people tuned in to watch. Compare this with the average NBA Finals game in 2003, just 9.9 million viewers. And that's in an NBA Finals game. David Stern, the NBA commissioner at the time, obviously saw how valuable this new Chinese audience would be and did everything in his power to profit off the new explosion in viewership.
With our partnership with Yao and our previously announced partnership with the CBA,
I'm going to continue doing anything I can to support the ongoing growth of the NBA, particularly internationally.
and anything we can learn from China, from Yao about China is important to us, because this is a market that is very important. It has so many people who have been playing our game for so long.
And not only did the NBA embrace Yao and his popularity for their own profit, but American businesses and corporations would do the same.
Can I write a check?
Yo.
Yao.
Yo.
Yao.
Yo.
Yo.
Can I write a check?
Yo.
Yao.
Yo.
Yao.
Yo.
Yao.
Yo.
Can I write a check?
Yo. Next time, use the Visa check card instead of checks.
Everyone loved Yao, and so did the business of the NBA. The NBA was growing steadily in revenue each year by expanding its market to China. Kevin Durant, Shaquille O'Neal, Steph Curry, LeBron James, James Harden, and all of the top NBA players within the past 20 years have made the trip to China for the chance to play in front of an audience almost as large as the United States' audience. Jerseys were being made in the Chinese language, games were being played in China, and Chinese superstars were making a massive name for themselves in the NBA, with most notably
Lin for the win! Got it! Sensational play from Jeremy Lin!
the new commissioner of the NBA in 2014, Adam Silver, seemed to have zero plans of slowing down the NBA's international growth.
When you see China, what do you see there?
Well, number one, I see it as our next largest market outside the United States in terms of revenue. And in addition, huge number of followers on social media. In fact, it's estimated that we have up to 300 million people who follow basketball in China. So we see it as a big market already, but one that is continuing to grow, and one that, for all we know, could surpass the United States one day.
Adam Silver was right. The Chinese audience was well on track to pass the American audience of the NBA. That was until one singular tweet. At 7:41 p.m. on October 4th, 2019, Daryl Morey, the general manager of the Houston Rockets, tweeted an emblem that stated, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong," in response to historic protests taking place in Hong Kong, where the Chinese citizens were fighting for a right to free speech. This was a completely unthinkable act for the Chinese government. The idea that a general manager of the Houston Rockets, China's favorite team because of Yao Ming, would advocate for the freedom of speech in China was completely inexcusable to the Chinese Communist Party. The People's Republic of China stated, "We are deeply shocked by the erroneous comments on Hong Kong made by Daryl Morey, and even told the Rockets to correct the error and take immediate concrete measures to eliminate the adverse impact." The Rockets and the NBA as a whole were now in hot water with China. The NBA obviously didn't want to lose their most important asset, in this case being China, so this prompted many Americans and NBA players to speak out against Daryl Morey's tweet advocating for free speech.
You know, when you're misinformed or you're not educated about something, and I'm just talking about, the tweet itself, you never know the ramifications that can happen. We all seen what that did. And sometimes you have to think through things that you say that may cause harm, not only for yourself, but for the majority of people. And I think that's just a prime example of that.
Well, I had a problem because the Rockets they're the most popular team. If anybody else had sent a tweet, it probably would have raised some eyebrows. But because the Houston Rockets and their affiliation with Yao Ming, they're the most popular team in China. So that was the first thing he should have thought about. Like, I'm not just speaking for myself, I'm speaking for the entire Rockets organization. And like I say, because of Yao Ming, the Rockets are by far and away the most popular team in China. You can't come to my country and make money and insult me. We don't get to impress our values on other countries.
Yeah, we apologize. We love China. We love playing there.
Eventually causing even himself to issue an apology. Many believe Daryl did nothing wrong and was simply defending American values by standing with the protests in Hong Kong advocating for free speech, while others believe that Daryl should stay quiet and not try and persuade foreign law. The NBA was put in a tough situation where China demanded that the NBA fire Daryl Morey, or the Chinese state media would suspend all NBA games, taking away a massive portion of the NBA's audience and revenue. Here was Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner's response.
Obviously, we made clear that we were being asked to fire him by the Chinese government, by the parties we dealt with, government and business. We said there's no chance that's happening. There's no chance we'll even discipline him.
NBA management ultimately sided with Daryl Morey, causing the Chinese Communist Party to suspend all NBA games indefinitely. All the progress the NBA had made restoring diplomatic relations with China and profiting billions off this new relationship had come to a screeching halt.
This afternoon, CCTV announced that because of my remarks supporting Daryl Morey's freedom of expression, not the substance of his statement, but his freedom of expression, they were no longer going to air the Lakers-Nets preseason games that are scheduled for later this week. The losses have already been substantial. Our games are not back on the air in China as we speak, and we'll see what happens next.
Things haven't gotten much better for the NBA financially. Less than a year after China halting all broadcasting of the NBA, the coronavirus pandemic hit the United States and cut the 2019-2020 season short in March. The NBA was able to host the playoffs in what they called the NBA playoff bubble, where the playoff teams could come together on one campus, completely cut off from the rest of the world for 3 months, to only play basketball. Out of the 4 different major revenue streams being television rights, tickets, sponsorships, and merchandising, the NBA was still profiting off of 3, just in a less significant way. COVID has receded enough to where the NBA has returned to normalcy. However, the NBA continues to find themselves in a lieu of scandals. The NBA has been at the forefront of advocating for gay rights and a supporter of the LGBTQ community. Yet on May 10th, 2022, the league announced that they would be holding preseason games in Abu Dhabi, a city of the United Arab Emirates.
Okay, basketball first, and the NBA will be staging 2 preseason games in the UAE in early October.
Here, being gay is punishable by death. Now, however you feel about the NBA playing in a country that is extremely strict on gay rights, the irony is that in 2017, the NBA pulled their All-Star game out of Charlotte, North Carolina because the state legislature passed a law limiting the protections of the LGBTQ community. If the NBA was such a strong advocate for the LGBTQ community, don't you think they would try and find somewhere more tolerant to host the preseason exhibition games? Would you be exploring foreign markets to try and revive the NBA? Let me know down below.